Hello and welcome to Talking Toffee. For those of you that don't know, this is one of the only places on YouTube for Evertonians to get together and discuss all things Everton. Now today's vlog is going to be a little bit different than the usual because this morning I caught up with Simon from the Blue Union. As I'd said to you before, I was hoping to speak to somebody that belonged to the People's Group or the Blue Union recently. I managed to get hold of Simon this morning. We spoke about everything from Bill Kenwright to the accounts to the future of the football club. I hope you enjoyed the interview. It's coming up right away. As usual though, I want you to like, share and comment. This is a subject that seems to divide us as supporters of Everton Football Club. We don't want that to continue, but at least get this video around and we can really now understand what it is the Blue Union want to do and where they're going with their campaign. So again, as always, I want your comments underneath. Leave your thoughts and your opinions on the interview. Here it is. Come on, you Blues. Hello there, Talking Toffee fans. I'm joined by Simon from the Blue Union, and we're going to be doing a little interview today on the situation, obviously, recently with the accounts that have been released. So, Simon, thank you for your time.
No problems.
In the interest of fairness, obviously, I'm going to try and keep the interview as neutral as possible, but obviously I do have my own thoughts and opinions on the subject because I'm an Evertonian and we all do. So, if you just want to tell the subscribers, because we've got subscribers internationally, people in Australia and America, etc., that maybe aren't too up to date and familiar with the situation with regards to the Blue Union. They might not know who the Blue Union are. So, can you just explain to us briefly who the Blue Union actually are?
Yeah, well, basically we're just a collection of fan groups and supporter groups that came together probably about 18 months ago now. Myself, I come from a background of being a founder member of one of the groups called Evertonians for Change. We came about after one of the barren transfer windows where we sold Stephen Pienaar. We weren't happy with the situation at the club, and we set ourselves up as a sort of a vehicle to take constructive criticism to the club and hopefully bridge a bit of a gap that we saw between the club and the fan base. We got together and we were introduced to a few of the Chaos lads.
Yeah, that's Keep Everton in our city, isn't it?
Yeah, they were the group that opposed the move to Kirby. We met them, organised a few leaflet drops to raise the awareness around the issues that we felt we had together. We've done that over a period of about 6 months, and then the People's Group came along around the summer of 2011.
Yeah.
They had a fantastic campaign on the social network, on Twitter and Facebook, and had a massive groundswell of support. And obviously with them coming from sort of the same area that we were in, it was inevitable that we would sit down and get together. And
that's what you did.
We all really thought that we wanted to keep our own identity.
Yeah.
We all had our different aspects of the Everton issues that we wanted to campaign on, but we thought it would be much more constructive to be operating under one umbrella as well. So that's where the Blue Union came from.
Great. Okay. So I mean, obviously there you've talked about a few other groups that you've linked up with, etc. What exactly are you trying to achieve with the Blue Union? Because there's kind of the fan base is split at the moment. People are against the Blue Union and what you're moving towards, obviously, with regards to the board, and people are for it. So, what's your stance on the board at the moment? What do you actually want to see?
Well, what we were trying to do, what we have tried to do, obviously, is raise awareness of the situation with Everton within the media. I mean, a few of us were unhappy with the portrayal of plucky little Everton punching above our weight. We've said over and over again, we're domestically the fourth biggest club in the country.
Yeah.
we're not a plucky little team and we're not punching above our weight. Where we are at the moment isn't a true portrayal of Everton Football Club. We're probably more akin to a sleeping giant, if you will. So, with regards to the myth of how well run we are, we wanted really to dispel that myth, but we didn't want to just throw our toys out the pram and shout as loud as we could. We wanted to offer constructive criticism to the way certain things were done at Everton Football Club. With regards to fan engagement, the fans forum that they had at the time when Evertonians for Change came about was nothing. It was rubbish. It was just paying lip service. We campaigned on behalf of like a fans' parliament, which would be elected supporters, to sit on, a sort of a parliament. But also, the other groups that belong to the Blue Union, the People's Group, they were campaigning within the media to try and get some of those myths dispelled. But obviously, KEOC as well, they've been working extremely hard over the last couple of years around the football quarter, working in conjunction with the Spirit of Shankly, and they've sat down around the table with Liverpool City Council, Liverpool Football Club, Everton Football Club as well, and they've offered some real possible solutions to our long-standing stadium problems.
Yeah. Yeah. So is it more than like you're trying to act on behalf of the club of where you want the club to go? Is it a case then that you look at the current regime at the club and you just don't think things are happening?
Well, I personally believe every football club, every business, if you will, should have a short, medium, and long-term aim with regard to where they are, where they want to go, and the aspirations for the future.
Yeah.
I don't believe that Everton Football Club has a short, medium, or long-term aim. I think we're living from year by year when we get the TV money in August from one year to the TV money the next year. And what happens in between, if we manage to raise funds via player sales, happy days as far as the board's concerned. They'll get money in and pay off a few debts. Maybe if the manager's lucky, give him a couple of quid, for to replenish the squad. But basically, that's the feeling that a lot of Evertonians get at the moment, myself included. And it's as a football club that has aspirations to certainly this season to hopefully we qualify for the Champions League.
Yeah.
If you want to keep that sustained, and if we want to be doing that next year and the year after and the year after that, we can't be living on a wish and a prayer. We need to have concrete plans, and we need to be pushing forward to deliver them to supporters.
Yeah, definitely. So, obviously, a lot of that's down to, having a fantastic manager with regards to the way he works within the transfer market and finding these little gems, and then us being able to obviously keep hold of those gems. But talking about the accounts that have been published recently, obviously by Everton, caused up a lot of a stir within the fan base, Simon. So, I think we're running a loss of about 52 million. That's seriously bad business. How long can this actually go on for, do you envisage?
Oh, it can't. Well, football clubs seem to be a breed apart from every other business in the world, because we've posted the loss of, as you say, in and around the region of 50 odd million. For the past couple of years now, and for a business to be in that kind of debt, it's unsustainable. It can't carry on trading as a business. It's strange, but sorry about this. It's just unsustainable, really, and
How looking at the accounts, Si, how worried are you at the moment, and what just at a quick glance at the accounts, what needs to change, what can happen? Is it just that we need some investment, and if so, where's that investment going to come from? What ideas do you have in terms with regards to that? Do they need to start cutting things down in terms of wages, and then obviously that's going to have an effect on the pitch?
Well, it's an interesting debate really about around the wages issue. You're seeing in the latest accounts, which we need to remember is from the period between June 2011 and May 2012. But we posted our highest wages. I think it was I can't remember exactly how. I think it was 59 million or something like that. Anyway, but it was large. It's like 79% of the what we have coming in. And funnily enough, the day after these accounts are released, we offer Phil Jagielka, a new and improved contract to stay at the club.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that was a bad move from the club, but it's if you have the accounts that are so high that the wages are so high that it's in really an unhealthy zone within the club's finances, then when you take a step back and you think about, well, how come we're still offering these new contracts? So I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it's definitely an interesting debate whether to get into whether we need to look at lowering the wages and starting from scratch, as it were, or maybe even taking a gamble and pushing on from into trying to push from now into May to the Champions League and seeing if the money that comes with the Champions League can maybe help our woes. But
definitely. That's that in itself is obviously I think a worry for a lot of football fans that think about this rationally. You look at the likes of Leeds being an example, and how they went out there. I know they're in a different position to us, but how they went out there and did go all guns blazing with regards to the Champions League. But also I hear what you're saying, about then having to go in the other way and playing a real safe card and chopping down wages, etc. And then we face losing maybe Moyes, obviously with his contract being up at the end of the season. We don't know if that's going to happen anyway. But do you know what I mean? Then all of a sudden all the progress we've made starts to be taken back. So we're really in a bit of a catch-22 as a club at the moment, aren't we? Let's talk about Bill Kenwright, because Kenwright is a fantastic story. I think I read an article the other week. I don't know if it was a representative of the Blue Union. He said, if you want Bill Kenwright to tell you a story, he's your man. But when it comes to business and how to run a football club, he falls a little bit short. Now, I personally, when I watch Kenwright speak and the passion, I know he's an actor and he's quite good at this kind of thing. He's got a bit of chat about him, but I can't help but like the guy. That may make me unpopular with some foot sectors of the Everton, but as a person, I quite like him. But on the flip side, that I've got a lot of question marks surrounding him as well. So, do you think if Kenwright wasn't an Evertonian, that Evertonians would view this situation differently, Si? Do you think they'd look at it and they'd have lost their tether with him a long time ago if he wouldn't have sat in the boys' pen?
Definitely. All you have to realise now is at this moment in time we're sitting in Everton's most barren spell between two trophies. Whether certain corners of the fan base like it or not, that simply means he's our most unsuccessful chairman.
Yeah.
But I'll be brutally honest. I've met Bill Kenwright, and during the infamous meeting back in August 2011. When people say he's a massive blue, he is. I've got absolutely no argument with him. I spent 3 hours with him, and for probably about half an hour, 45 minutes, we just sat and the 5 or 6 of us that were there at the time, we just sat and chatted about what I think it was just before the Tottenham game that got called off because of the riots down in London.
Yeah. So just before the start of the season was that, I think.
Yeah, and we were going through who would we be picking for our first 11, whose best positions were, who's our favourite players, etc. And to be honest, that's the most genuine part of the whole meeting that we ever got, and that I feel that we ever got. And it's I don't ever argue that he's a massive Evertonian, but on the other hand, I'm a massive Evertonian, and you're a massive Evertonian, and there's 40,000 other massive Evertonians going to be at the game today. Are we suited to be chairman of a Premier League club? I know I'm not. With no disrespect to yourself, I think you're probably not either.
Hey, listen, my job in recruitment pays well, bro. You know what I mean? I know what you're saying. Yeah, of course, yeah.
The problem is, we all know Kenwright's skint, but the problem doesn't just lie with Kenwright or the rest of the board. The problem lies in our ability to raise our own funds, if you will. If you look at any other club, you see that they all get millions from the TV deals that the Premier League attracts, but everyone's on an equal footing there. But what everyone isn't on an equal footing is with the money raised via merchandise, via corporate hospitality,
sponsorship,
and stuff. Yeah, exactly, and stuff, sponsorship, shirt deals, and stuff like that. And when you compare us to our peers, if you will, I think our turnover matches Liverpool's merchandise turnover alone. So if you think about, we're bringing in 80-odd million a year, the whole club. Liverpool bring in just on shirt and shirt sponsorships. When you look a little bit further down, the likes of Tottenham and Aston Villa, they're all out, beating us in that field. And that's really where we need to start looking. We need to start improving our game. These deals that we're getting told is the best for the club, bringing in record-breaking deals. With Chang and Kitbag, and these aren't good deals. These are crippling us, especially the Kitbag one and the corporate hospitality one with Sodexo. These are crippling us because they're 5, 6. These are long-term deals that. A fixed amount.
Yeah, so they don't actually move with the money within the game, so to speak, that can be generated from this. Now I understand that. Yeah, definitely. All right, just moving on then. So we sort of, I've got another question here on the King's doc. And what happened to the 30 million that Kenwright told us Everton fans that he had to actually build the stadium. Just quickly, what could you remember that? What's your kind of thoughts on that?
To say it was a missed opportunity is an absolute understatement. I think that if we had moved into King's Dock, I think it would have, it certainly would have propelled us up, back to where we belong. With blue tinted specs on, playing the Royal Blues, playing on the banks of the Royal Blue Mares, I definitely would have thought, we Champions League football would have been.
It's got a nice ring to it, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely permanent fixture, and maybe even pushing for a bit of silverware. But it didn't come through, and it was a disappointing time for the club. But we have to remember that not only did it it not come through, but when we moved on and tried to look at other places, other ground moves. We were very, very lucky not to move to Kirby because that move would have killed us, would have killed the football club, and I don't think we would have recovered, or we certainly wouldn't be the same football club that we were.
So if I mean, you've said there, then it would have killed the football club if we'd have gone to Kirby, and the soul of the football club, I agree with you. Moving outside of the boundaries of the city, etc. However, if Kenwright's such a big Evertonian, and we've just admitted that, and you've admitted that, etc. Why would he move then? Why would he make a move like that and try and take us to a place that would kill the soul of the football club? Is there another motive there? Why would he do that?
Personally, I think it was money orientated. I think it was probably thought that the deal with Tesco was too good to be true, but in reality, when the chips were down and when the information was gathered and gained, the deal showed it for what it was, which was a farce. The club was saying that there was no plan B. They were saying that they were getting 50 million from Tesco, which was a complete and utter lie. When the Kirby Destination Kirby went to a public inquiry, it was so bad that they couldn't even get the transport links correct.
Right.
I don't know if you know Kirby train station, but it's one platform, and you're expecting to have 30,000 fans leaving via that one platform within 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It's just it just, when you think about the numbers, it just doesn't make sense. And if you can't get simple things like the transport links correct for the Kirby Stadium, then it kind of gives you an insight into where we're failing on the rest of the project, and that really is it. If anyone has any time to go through the public inquiry and you want to know more information, then go to the KIOC website, and you'll have your eyes wide open as to where this board was trying to take us, which is scary, to be honest.
Yeah. Talking about this board, Robert Earl, he's a name that's been bandied about, and apparently he resides on the Everton board. He's obscenely rich, though. Apparently, obscenely rich, like unbelievably rich. Si, what? I mean, there's been a lot of talk recently about maybe a non-interest loan. Why don't they just, if he belongs to the club, it's almost like you see him as maybe a little bit of a cancer, just eating off the main sal. But why doesn't he put a bit of money in? How much money does this guy have to? I mean, because I don't know if a lot of Evertonians are aware of Robert Earl, but he's on the Everton board, a billionaire almost, is he? He's a rich guy. What's the situation with Robert Earl, Si?
It's a very good question. I mean, do you know when the last time he was at Goodison Park?
Was it when Stallone came down for the Reading game? Was it?
Very, very possible, and that was, how long ago was that? That was a good 5 or 6 years ago now.
Yeah, I reckon so. I remember. I seem to recall Andy Johnson playing for us, so that just says how long ago it was. Yeah.
What he's doing there, what he brings to the board, I've got no idea. I mean, it's a very valid point, because rightly or wrongly, Bill Kenwright does take the majority of the flak, but there are other board members there that contribute less. At least in his defence, Bill Kenwright puts his head above the parapet. He's there every game. Whenever there's interview work to be done, he's there. His face is there. Talking the club up or what have you.
Yeah.
Robert Earl, when was the last time he was at Goodison? I'm not sure. Possibly 2008 or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what he does, but I can tell you that I can tell you a story, if you don't mind. That one of the officers of KIOC, he will swear to you blind that this is the truth. He said that Paul Gregg, who shares Robert Earl supposedly owns, he was actually paid for those shares by a certain Philip Green.
Right, so, Philip Green's the man who owns Topshop and that, is he? Is that him?
Yeah, I think I'm not sure if he does now. He's definitely he definitely owned Arcadia Group, which was Top Man, Top Shop, and those groups. But make that as you will. But this guy will swear on his mother's grave that Paul Gregg told him that his shares were bought and paid for by Philip Green. So whether it's true or not remains to be seen.
No, and just for those that don't know, Philip Green has also had a bit of interest with football before. He's got a stake in Tottenham as well, I think. So he's got interest in other Premier League clubs and other clubs. So just a quick one, Trevor Birch Birch, I think I've pronounced that right. Trevor Birch. He was brought into the club in 2004 to seek investment, but resigned just 6 weeks later. There's been no official word on the situation from the club, bizarrely. Have you actually tried to contact this Trevor about this? And because I mean, surely now that was 2004. You tried getting in contact with him. Can you talk about this? What actually happened at the club? He was brought in to find investments.
What we need to be, what we need to realise with most former employees of Everton is after they leave the football club, they all sign confidentiality agreements.
Okay.
So, most of them adhere to those agreements. So I think that should, if you read between the lines, answer your questions.
Why is that exactly? Very, very suspicious, to be honest with you. But just retracting a little bit, for those that just heard that, the Blue Union, Simon, who belongs to Blue Union, did actually just praise Bill Kenwright there. Because sometimes I read some stuff and I just, when you were talking about, well, at least he shows his face a little bit, as in comparison that the same can't be said for other members of the board. So for those people that do say that the Blue Union are just out and it's a personal vendetta against Bill Kenwright, I think there you've kind of quashed that one. Let's talk about Mike Parry, because Mike Parry's a big Evertonian, with regards to his mouth, and he's always on Twitter, and he has a lot of presence over Evertonians. A lot of Evertonians look to him as like gospel. He was on the Twitter the other day saying Everton are a fantastically run club. This kind of ideology within amongst supporters, he was saying it's a fantastic run club, and talking about Kenwright again, I think being an Evertonian and he means well, etc. How healthy is this in and amongst Evertonians, would you say, Si?
Well, it's not. I mean, Mike Parry, I have my own personal views on Mike Parry. Don't have a hell of a lot of time for him, but he will always, when he's on his Twitter rant, he will always say that Bill Kenwright's a good friend of his, and therein lies the problem. If he's a good friend, then he's not going to hear anything bad said about him.
No.
But anyone, I mean, we've just said that, earlier, anyone who looks at these accounts and sees a club making such a hefty loss, even take the football out of it, if it's a business making such a hefty loss, you can't say it's being run well. It's not. It's the simple fact of the matter is we're losing money hand over fist, and we're not recovering. Yes, Bill Kenwright's a massive Evertonian. I hate it when people say he's the biggest Evertonian, because I take issue with that. I take issue with a lot of the massive Blues who aren't as financially well off as Kenwright, who I say financially well off, obviously.
Yeah.
He's not the billionaire that we need, but he does have a lot of personal wealth. But there's a lot of Evertonians that are extremely find it hard to make ends meet, and they follow the club up and down the country. And this is one of the things that I don't agree with, is when people say he's the biggest Evertonian, because he might be massive, but as I said, both myself and yourself are massive Evertonians as well. But we're not best suited to. I'll be honest, no, my hands up. I wouldn't know the first thing about running a football club, and I think that's where sort of Mike Parry's maybe passion over his good friend clouds his judgment about the situation of the football club at the moment.
Yeah. So is it a case then that with regards to what you want, is it that you want to see a bit more of a professional element, like brought in people who maybe do know what they're talking about? Is that what you'd like to see? Because fundamentally, you've just said to yourself, well, I don't really know how to run a football club, and none of us are really that that experienced in that sense, but there are people out there that probably are, especially running big businesses, and are they, and are from what you've seen, are Everton looking for those kind of people to bring them in and try and turn this around?
Well, I'm not too sure, to be honest, because I was looking, funnily enough, on Twitter again yesterday, I think, and I was reading some of the tweets that, I'm not sure if Tony Evans, who writes for the Times, he was making comments with regards to the outer court settlement that Hicks and Gillette had from Liverpool.
Yeah.
They had an outer court settlement yesterday, and Tony Evans made a comment that he hopes he never hears the names Hicks, Gillette, Broughton and Perslow again. Now, Martin Broughton and Christian Perslow were, I think Christian Perslow was the chief executive, and Martin Broughton was maybe the managing director or something like that. But they were big movers and shakers in Liverpool.
Yeah.
And he said he hopes he never hears the names ever again. And I replied to him because I don't know if you remember, but 12 months ago, and it is almost 12 months ago to the day, after us saying that we need to be bringing in individuals who are tasked with finding the correct investment or the correct buyers for the club, need to be brought in and to take the sale forward, or the search for investment forward. It was revealed that apparently Christian Perslow was involved in that. It was in the newspapers that he was brought on board by Everton Football Club.
Right.
And I said to Tony Evans, well, you might be rid of him, but unfortunately, we're not, or are we? Because since then, 12 months ago, we've not heard a peep with regards to this kind of individual whose remit it is to sort of forward the club in that direction. But
so a man that's failed across the park, then fundamentally, brought in. If I've heard that right, obviously he brought in Hicks and Gillette. It was then seen good enough for Everton Football Club. Now, I just think if we'd have done that on the pitch, for example, if after Hodgson, say, he failed at Liverpool, Roy Hodgson, I know he's the England manager now, but let's take it back to the day he failed. Let's pretend that Moyes left that day as well, and we brought in Roy Hodgson. The fans would not stand for that, but this guy's just failed across the park at Liverpool. Why on earth would he be good enough for Everton now? Do you know what I mean?
I don't think he brought in Hicks and Gillette, but he was certainly part of the executive team during the period of their sort of troubles over there. I think if you speak to any most Liverpool fans, they would agree with you, though he was a failure for Liverpool Football Club.
Right.
But you've raised a valid point. Why with people who have a track record of failure, why are they involved? I mean, another person who fits the bill, the infamous Keith Harris, who is or isn't helping to sell Everton Football Club. He has an appalling track record of selling football clubs. Yes. If you speak to Bill Kenwright, he's heavily involved in selling Everton Football Club. How long for? Your guess is as good as mine. But the quote Mr. Kenwright made when he came onto the board 13 years ago was he doesn't have the money to take Everton forward, and he will be seeking investment and or a new buyer.
Right.
13 years ago.
Yeah.
And the truth's there for all to see.
Okay, well, we'll try and speed it up now because obviously we've been on it's gone over for a little bit longer than I expected to this interview. But thanks for that. So there's a lot to cover, isn't there? There is a lot to cover. But one of the questions that I do hear a lot from Evertonians that we'll try and finish up on this. Maybe got one more question after is this is the situation at every football club. Every football club in the league, bar I think bizarrely Stoke are working in the black, as they say. I think they're okay. But the rest of us, all obviously the big boys have got assets, more assets to borrow against, etc. But the rest of us are debted up. That's the Premier League. It's built on debt. So in that respect, so you're always working at a loss. A lot of clubs are working at a loss. Is that statement correct? Are a lot of clubs in the same situation as us, or is that a bit of a fallacy?
There are a lot of clubs operating in debt. I think I used an example previously. Just then, Liverpool were operating in debt under the previous regime. I'm not sure how healthy their finances are just yet, but as I alluded to before, they have a lot of income around merchandise and corporate hospitality. The same as Manchester United. I mean, the problem with the Glazers are very well publicised, but the difference between these bigger clubs, the likes of Liverpool back then, Manchester United now, they all have the ability to facilitate those debts.
Yeah.
If the worst ever came to the worst, they've got the last straw, last case scenario. They've got the players to sell that would raise them millions, but they've also got the infrastructure, the likes of Old Trafford, Carrington Training Ground. There are huge question marks over our infrastructure. We've recently just tried to build a building on the end of the park end, and that failed because of insurance issues or ownership issues over the land. I think the land was held in trust by the bank.
Right.
Over a loan that we have with them. Finch Farm, we don't own that. So the only way that we could facilitate our debts, if the worst came to the worst, was selling what you see week in, week out on the pitch.
Which is worrying.
It is, and like you say, a lot of clubs are in that scenario as well, but with the Premier League fair play coming along, the UEFA fair play, and the new TV rights, it will probably bring a lot of clubs into line. But again, as I spoke about before, what a lot of clubs have that we don't is their ability to raise the revenue. Certain cases of revenue themselves via merchandise, via club hospitality, shirt sponsorships. So whilst they're able to do that, and we're falling behind.
We're not. No. That is worrying, obviously, and anyone who looks at it, as I said, rationally, will probably be able to see that. I think that's what it is, isn't it? We're just worried. I mean, I see a lot of people attacking you a lot, and jumping on statements, but I just feel like you're worried about the situation, and surely, that just comes from a love of something. Worry does. If you're worried about something, you obviously care about that, and surely there's nothing wrong, and you have to ask questions. People who discourage people who ask questions, in normal life, it's really important to constantly ask questions of people in power. So in our respect, the board, because you've got to continually apply that pressure to know for them to know if they do mess up, and they're gonna have to reap some form of repercussion, because there's nobody above them to slam it down on them. Do you know what I mean? So I do sympathise with that, with regards to the fact that you do care, and you're just asking questions fundamentally. But where do you see Everton in the next 5 years? And we'll wrap it up now then, Si, because I've kept you on the phone for quite some time now. We've done 40 minutes. But where do you see Everton in the next 5 years with this current board in place? And then also, if you've got any protests coming up or anything, you can push that after.
Well, currently, if the situation with the club doesn't change, as in a wealthy benefactor coming in, or inroads being made off the field, to sort of bring in more money, we'll carry on doing what we're doing at the moment. We'll live year by year off the TV money. Chances are we'll probably sell Fellaini. As much as I hate to say it, I can't see him. If we qualify for the Champions League this summer, I think he probably will stay. But I think the chances are we'll fall short, unfortunately, and he'll make his way in this summer. I think we'll continue to be in the vicious circle that we're in. Moyes will get a percentage of whatever money is raised via the player sales, and he might pick up a few gems, he might pick up a few billionaires now, and we'll make money on the better players he sells. But I think what we'll find is, like, the longer it goes on, the lower the kind of quality that he'll be able to pick up.
Right.
Because obviously, the ambitions of the club will fall, and they won't match some of these better players' ambitions. So, like I say, I think it'll just be a vicious circle until the bottom falls out. I mean, I know that the new TV money will bring in a bit of breathing room, but at the same time, I think what you'll find is probably transfer fees will go up to compensate, and agent fees will go up to compensate, and maybe even wages.
Yeah.
Which is again is a worry for us.
Yeah. Okay. Is there any protests or anything Have you got any organised meetings or anything like that coming up, Si, that you can tell the people about?
We've got nothing planned. What the kind of group we are, we always react to what our supporters demand, if you will. When we met the previous 3 or 4 occasions, it was all through request of our support base to act, if you will. The decisions to protest when we protested 18 months ago was a direct result of those meetings. We had the people there. They wanted to vent their frustrations in a way, and we acted as a vehicle for them to get on the streets, to make the voices heard. So if tomorrow we had a couple of 100 people saying we need to do something, we'd organise a meeting. If in a month, 2 months, 6 months, a year, that happens in a year, then we'll always be there for our support base, for not just our support base, but for the rest of Evertonians. We really Evertonians need to try and move away from it. I hate to, I'm not trying to tell people what to do or anything, but we need to move away from us and them attitude, which is unfortunate, is a lot prevalent in the Evertonian sort of extended family at the moment. But we all love the football club as much as we can, as much as we do. It's all, the only difference is we all we don't even want different things. We all want to see Everton win. It's just the way to get there that we don't see eye to eye. And I think we all need to realise that, and
get together.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course. All right, and Si, listen, I really appreciate your time, mate. It's been fantastic you coming on and having a chat to me. So appreciate it. Thanks for your time, then, Si.
Thank you.
Top man. Thanks, mate.
Bye.
Bye.